Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access on this glorious July the 26th. Nice little Saturday morning we just had here. A couple cups of coffee. Now we're on to some energy drinks. It's going to be scorching hot down here in Tennessee. Really excited about Packers training camp. So hopefully everybody's having an awesome weekend, having a safe weekend. Got big plans today. Just wanted to kind of drop in and chat with you guys a little bit about what just happened the first week of Packers training camp. Not going to be a long video. Just want to give you kind of a snapshot, get you in and out of here so you can get up to date on some of the things that stood out to me. And if there's anything we miss in this article, this breakdown, make sure you hit me up in the chat. Let me know what you thought were some of the bigger focal points when it comes to Packers training camp, and more specifically the first week. Before we do, I need you guys to do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time into PTA, welcome. Listen, we're not experts here. We're not insiders. What we are fans just like you. We go live daily talking Packers, film breakdown. We'll do pregame shows, postgame shows, all the analysis you need from a fan's perspective. And also we've got an awesome growing community here at PTA. So if you want to be a part of that, we got many different facets that you could take advantage of and join here. We're going to be doing a big giveaway on the stream tonight. So make sure you hit the bell notification there. Make sure you get notified every time we do go live, because you'll get more and more of these random streams popping up as we get a little deeper into training camp. I see everybody filing in here. Good to see all of you guys and gals. Let's jump into it. Top 10 insights from the first week of Packers training camp. First off, defensive backs shining early. Cornerback Carrington Valentine has intercepted passes on consecutive days, including one against Malik Willis, while safety Xavier McKinney made key plays like a pass breakup and fumble recovery on drills. So, one of the big concerns going into this season, obviously, was the departure of Jair Alexander. You guys know I've been pretty vocal that, for the price that it seems like we could have kept him around for at $6 million, would like to have seen them do that. Since then, though, he parted ways. He's in Baltimore now. And, I see a lot of fans that are concerned about the DB room. I wasn't as concerned about the DB room as most people were. And listen, I understand where you're coming from. Jair Alexander was a stud when he was healthy. He's one of the top three, definitely top 5 cornerbacks in the entire league. However, health was an issue. All those things, obviously the suspension, it just kind of didn't come together the way we wanted it to the last couple of years. So with that being said, though, when you dive into the DB room, guys, it's not as bad as some people may think it is. Carrington Valentine actually had a better passer rating when targeted than Jair Alexander in 2024. He also had the same amount of interceptions as Jair Alexander, right? Now, I'm not sitting here saying Carrington Valentine, a 7th-round pick out of Kentucky, is at the same level of a former all-pro corner in Jair. Jair, one of my favorite players while he was here in Green Bay. However, when you look at it as a whole, you go out and sign Nate Hobbs, and this kind of feels a lot like the Josh Jacobs signing. I remember when we let Aaron Jones walk and we signed Josh Jacobs, everybody was like, man, he was bad last year, because you guys know in 2022, he took a dip in production, right? Well, like we said, if you get the 2020, I think it was the 2020, actually 2023 was when he took a dip. We said, if you get the 2022 version of Josh Jacobs, you're getting an absolute stud, right? Well, we got the 2022 version. So when you kind of look at Nate Hobbs coming from the Raiders as well, his rookie year, he was a stud. Graded out in the 80s with PFF, very aggressive, breaking on the ball, physical corner. You've already seen in camp. He's kind of got this demeanor about him. He's very intense. I love that. Absolutely. To me, it's a good shakeup, a good change from Jair, who was the fun-loving, goofy, always. Don't get me wrong, there's a place for that on the team, and I think there's value in a person that can kind of lower the walls of his teammates a little bit. And on top of that, kind of lighten the mood in a stressful situation that may be the game on the line for a specific play. But nonetheless, cornerbacks seem to be playing pretty well, man. Not just Carrington Valentine, but Nate Hobbs has flashed as well. Keyshawn Nixon had a couple of big plays yesterday too. From what I can gather, looking pretty good. Javon Bullard forcing a fumble punching the ball out of Tucker Kraft's hands yesterday while he was playing the slot. And keep in mind, Javon Bullard is running with the ones in the slot, star, nickel, whatever you want to call it, as of the time being. We'll see how that shakes out. And we've got some awesome content coming up later on this evening for our live stream when the guys join me. We're going to be breaking down a little bit of Evan Williams as well. I'm excited about his second year in the league. Moving on to the next topic here. Offensive weapons displaying potential. All right, wide receiver Dontavion Wicks caught a long touchdown from Jordan Love on an extended play, and Jaden Reed has recovered fully from his shoulder injury as he enters his third season. So it seems like the wide receiver room's in a pretty good place too. And obviously with Dontavion Wicks here making a big play yesterday, I think many people have kind of written him off. And to be honest with you, our chat seems to be on the opposite end of the spectrum. Last night when we did our live stream, I've seen many people in there going, man, people were sleeping on Wicks. People were sleeping on Wicks. Awesome rookie year. Took a step back his sophomore year here in, second year in the league. Now let's see if he can kind of build off of that success he had year one, forget last year, and dive right into being the player that we thought he could be moving forward. I see everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys jumping in here this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are. I guess it's still morning up there, Lambeau time. We just cracked noon here in Tennessee. Next, kicker, Brandon McManus, dominating kicks. The veteran remains perfect through camp, going 15 for 15 through 3 days, including multiple 50-plus yard field goals on, I believe yesterday was his birthday. I want to say he turned 34 yesterday, I think, if I remember correctly. So, guys, I can't state this enough, man. Brandon McManus being a Green Bay Packer, it seems like it was yesterday that we were dealing with kickers that couldn't hit extra points. And it's like there were specific ranges that, that a Nardison was good at. And it just seemed like he missed some of the chip shots, missed some of the extra points. If I remember correctly, that was him that was struggling with the extra points. You had Greg Joseph in here. You tried a multitude of ways to kind of patch up this kicking game. The fact that Brandon McManus is our kicker for the next 3 years, man, it just kind of, you could take a deep breath and no longer do you worry when you march him out there for a potential game-winning kick or even a kick that might give you a 4-point lead as opposed to just a 1-point lead, things like that. Now, listen, it doesn't mean he's going to be perfect. Last year, he had the second highest kick accuracy, right? His field goal percentage was the second highest in the league. And I want to say the guy ahead of him had way fewer attempts than McManus did. I don't expect McManus to kick in the 90 percentile again this year. I don't. Now, if he does, that's awesome. Give me 85% or above. And I'm like, that's well worth the money. So McManus seems to be picking up right where he left off last year on the kicking front. So moving along here. Injuries affecting offensive line and receivers. Left guard Aaron Banks is day-to-day with a back injury. Elton Jenkins remains sidelined. Now, listen, whether Elton Jenkins is the contract or not, they've got him listed with a back injury as well. All right, so just keep that in mind. That could be a little play on the cap, or not the cap, a play on the contract situation with Elton Jenkins. To me, it kind of feels like the tide has turned there. I feel like Elton's probably got to the point after hearing Goody speak and them having conversations with him being back in town, obviously, for training camp. I think they kind of came to the realization. This is just me speaking. I have no inside information. I want to mention that, okay? But it kind of feels like he's come to the conclusion like, okay, Goody's not going to budge on this. So what do you do as a player? You kind of held out through a part of the offseason, and then it's going to be a hold in, right? It could be that they agreed, look, until we get this worked out, and maybe there will be some guaranteed money added to Elton Jenkins' contract. But on the surface, for me, it kind of feels like you're saving a little face. And I could be wrong. Like, well, what do I do? Do I just go out there now and go, yeah, I just caved? Well, maybe you tweaked your back a little bit. And now you don't have to talk to the media for a few days. Let's let this die down. Let some other camp stories take it to the forefront. And then in a few days, all right, the back feels better. You're back on the practice squad, and nobody even talks about the hold in. I could be wrong there, but that's kind of the way it feels to me. So we'll see how all that shakes out as we move forward, obviously, and get a little deeper into camp. Now, the other thing, rookie wide receiver Savion Williams is out with a concussion, leading to lineup rotations. Quay Walker has taken significant steps forward as he recovers from his ankle surgery. So obviously we found out Quay got his ankle cleaned out earlier in the offseason. So it seems like he's tracking to kind of have a little bit better season than he did last year, in my opinion, because he's going to be healthy. That's the other thing. When you hear cleanup, guys, and I don't know all the details of the procedure that was taken, that took place with Quay Walker's ankle. Typically with cleanup, though, you go in there and you scope it, and you're getting just some of the excess material out, right? In some cases, there may be some, I don't want to say bone spurs, but something similar, a little bit of floating cartilage, things like that. And maybe you can go in and just get that out of there, and that removes some of the discomfort. To me, I'm expecting Quay to be as healthy as he's ever been, because that ankle injury, it didn't just bother him, when it kind of ended his season last year, but it also, if I remember correctly, it was something that bothered him the year before a little bit as well. You just seen him pop up on the injury report from time to time. So I'm excited to see him at a full 100% as well. Now, left guard Aaron Banks on the day-to-day with the back injury. Day-to-day, I want to say that's good news. Like, okay, it's definitely better than saying, hey, he's going to be out for a while, right? But in camp, you can use the term day-to-day, and sometimes it's longer. I think Aaron Banks is going to be fine. I think this is precautionary. And me personally, when you pay somebody like Aaron Banks the money you did in free agency, and again, we've talked about it's a 4-year deal that's really a 2-year deal when you really look at the guaranteed money and how the contract breaks down and the Packers can get out of it. So I really like the signing. But you spent money on him expecting him to start. I have no problem with playing it really, really safe with the back injury and allowing some of these younger guys to get extra reps. As you've seen, Jordan Morgan kicked over from right guard to left guard, and it allowed Jacob Monk to step in and get some right guard snaps. This is the time that you want to do that, right? You want to make sure that you get those young guys reps in situations like this. I mean, it's just, to me, it makes all the sense in the world. Your back's a little tight. Probably, like we said, I think it was Joseph, I see him in the chat here, he said last night on the live stream, if we were playing a playoff game, today, Aaron Banks is probably playing, right? So the fact that you got him sitting out, it's just precautionary. And it allows Jacob Monk to get those right guard reps. It allows Jordan Morgan to get those left guard reps. It allows Sean Ryan to get center reps that Elton Jenkins is out. Let's just kind of, somebody was in the YouTube comments yesterday, cracked me up, and they were just, Aaron Banks, it was just like every little injury we're talking about on the third day of camp, the sky was falling. I'm like, man, this is day 3, bud. You got to calm down. There's going to be more of these. We see it every single year. So everything's going to be fine. But I'm really excited about Quay Walker. And then, of course, Savion Williams. Listen, if it raises a little bit of concern for you that, hey, this guy's already got a concussion, I can understand that. I mean, we've seen what happened with Rome last year. I'm not overly concerned about it, other than play it extremely safe, because concussions, as we've seen here recently, man, oh man, if it leads to some of the long-term effects of CTE and things, it's absolutely devastating. So just a little update on the injuries there from this week as well. And I want to give a shout out to Caden over on Twitter. This shot right here was just absolutely awesome. Just Jordan out there gunslinging. Jordan loves productive throws. The Packers quarterback has shown accuracy, including a 49-yard touchdown to Dontavion Wicks and efficient completions in third down drills, going 9 of 14 in one session. Free agent signing Mecole Hardman has emerged as one of Love's favorite targets early in camp. So for me, guys, it seems like Jordan Love is in a really good place right now. We showed some of the throws last night on the show, and he threw like a 23-yard out route. It was a dime piece. It was to Dontavion Wicks, which, by the way, Dontavion, strong hands, great at the catch point. 2 things from that one throw, and it's one throw, routes on air, I got you. Jordan Love anticipating the break and letting that thing rip on a 23-yard out route, phenomenal. I mean, you could not have thrown it any better. Dontavion Wicks, who had drop issues last year, strong hands catch, and it was a heater too. I mean, it was our boy Jordan Love was shooting that pill. He was humming that tater. So I feel good about where Dontavion Wicks is this camp. He's already starting to flash a little bit. Like it's almost like he took things personal. I mentioned on the show last night that Jason Wilde had a conversation with him, and he said that Dontavion Wicks fell into the trap of counting reps last year. Like, how many reps is that guy getting? How many am I getting? And just kind of allowing the noise to creep in. This year, it's just, hey, put all that in the back burner. Don't even worry about it. Just go out there and do your job and get it done. So, and Mecole Hardman, man, I'm going to start calling him Mecole now. I heard several people in interviews call him Miko. And I thought, man, all these people are saying his name wrong, saying McCole. Now I'm hearing people say McCole. So you guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, however you say his name. But McCole Hardman has flashed. There's no two ways about it. Jordan Love, they look like the defense was playing a cover 2 zone look, and Jordan hitting him in the bunker on the left side, what we call a hole shot, and McCole Hardman just having the awareness, having the testicular fortitude. I know the pads aren't on yet, but that's not an easy catch to make, knowing that safety in a cover 2 is right there, and you're trying to hit that hole shot, you're trying to hit that bunker shot. To be able to haul that in, I think that's big. He also had a huge catch, like a 70-yard bomb from Jordan Love, one of the first days of mini camp or practice or whatever it was. So McCole Hardman is starting to look like, and we're only 3 days in, I got it. It's starting to feel like McCole Hardman's going to make this roster. Now, we'll see. A lot of things could happen. He may end up with a drop issue. There may be an injury occur. Who knows? But right now, I'm liking McCole Hardman's chances of making the team. Up next, rookie Matthew. Shut up, A-fam. I see you in there. Get your head out of the gutter. Rookie Matthew Golden emerging as a breakout. All right, so the first-round pick, nicknamed Bullet by Rich Bisaccia, we broke that down, right, where he said he told Matthew Golden earlier in the week, he said, do you know who Bob Hayes is? And Matthew Golden was like, no. He's like, go watch some Bob Hayes tape. He wore number 22 as well for the Cowboys. Well, Bob Hayes, as you guys may be aware, was the fastest man on the face of the planet at one point. Cowboys got him on their team. He wore number 22. They called him Bob Bullet Hayes. So they're starting to nickname him, or at least Bisaccia is calling Matthew Golden Bullet, wearing 22. Obviously, he's got the 4.2 40 speed. It says he's calling him Bullet for his speed, has made touchdown catches, been used in jet sweeps. We've seen that yesterday. Really exciting there, and shown elusiveness in drills. While it's still early, Golden seems to be ahead of where past rookies were entering their first training camp. Guys, I don't remember us talking about Jaden Reed this way. I don't remember us talking about Romeo Doubs this way. Romeo Doubs flashed, but it was more in terms of I remember him making contested catches on Jair Alexander. I specifically remember that. I remember him beating Romeo Doubs, beating Eric Stokes off a bump and run. Everybody went, whoa, Romeo Doubs just torched a first-round pick. Well, now we know that Eric Stokes probably shouldn't have been a first-round pick. That's not a dig at Goody or his scouts. Everybody misses them. It's so hard to truly find those gems. That's why the success rate is so low when it comes to the NFL draft, right? But Matthew Golden, you guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, this feels a little bit different. When you watch him and when he runs his routes, how twitchy he is, how fluid he is. I said from the get-go, if I had to pick a player that Matthew Golden reminded me of, it would be Greg Jennings. Greg Jennings was very quick, but he was so smooth, so fluid in and out of his breaks running routes. Matthew Golden is way faster than Greg Jennings. So the fact that I didn't say, he reminds me of Christian Watson's speed, or he reminds me of, MVS's speed, or whoever, you know what I mean? That would be, you just, okay, well, we knew he was fast. What he does underneath and the fluidity in his movement, I watch him and I go, man, that looked like the old 85 out there. So really, really excited about what Matthew Golden's going to bring to the table. Next, defense controlling practices. The unit has won back-to-back days, forcing interceptions and fumbles with strong showings in 2-minute and third down periods. So one of the things we talked about this offseason is typically when a defensive coordinator takes over with a new team, if they're a good coordinator, you'll see a big bump in production, right? Like the defense will take a big step. We've seen that with Jeff Hafley. I think we would all agree from what we've seen so far, slam dunk hire by Matt LaFleur there, bringing in Jeff Hafley as the defensive coordinator. Now, we also mentioned that typically in year 2, they take a slight step back. Not all of them, right? But there's a good chunk of defensive coordinators that end up being good defensive coordinators that in year 2, they take a step back. Why is that? It's because the entire first of all, the offseason leading into the year that Jeff Hafley came in as the defensive coordinator, he'd never been a defensive coordinator in the NFL, right? So why is that important? Opposing teams don't have the ability to go pull his tape and watch what he did. You can go watch him at BC, at Boston College, but the college game is totally different than the NFL game. So he played a lot of man coverage in college, and there's many media members that say, oh, we're going to play a lot more man coverage. And I went, no, you're not. He comes from the Pete Carroll cover 3 coaching tree. You're going to see a lot of zone defense. Lo and behold, that's what we did last year. Now, a hybrid from a cover 3, we went to more cover 6, cover 9, cover 4 match looks, mixed and matched as you went through the season. Teams now have a full season of tape on Jeff Hafley. So Jeff Hafley has to make the decision of going into the season. All right, do I change up what I do that worked last year? Do I stick with what worked, or do I change it up, knowing that offensive coordinators know exactly what we did now? They had all offseason, especially the NFC North offensive coaches, to break down and dissect what it is Jeff Hafley did really, really well. So that's why I would kind of expect a slight step back. However, early in training camp, seems like the defense has got the edge on the offense currently. Now, as we talked about last night, I think Emilio brought it up. It's a great point. This typically happens in training camp. The defense is typically one step ahead of the offense almost always, because the offense is trying to work on new stuff. They're trying to get things kind of implemented and everybody getting on the same page. You got new targets. I mean, you're talking about Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, new receivers, McCole Hardman, newly added to the team. You've got a new left guard who's missing with injury now, but he's stepping in. Everybody's trying to communicate. Oh, by the way, you're playing with your second and third string center because Elton's out. So I want to pump the brakes a little bit on the defense, but this is good. This is what you want to hear, no doubt. So defense seems to be showing up currently at camp. Up next, Javon Bullard's turnover creation. The safety forced a fumble from Tucker Kraft and has been active in coverage, including a pass breakup against Romeo Doubs. Javon Bullard continues to run with the ones in the slot cornerback in Jeff Hafley's nickel 4-2-5. Now, this kind of caught me. I don't want to say caught me off guard, but I'm a little bit surprised because I somewhat expected Nate Hobbs to just be the nickel back, although we talked about, and we were pretty vocal this offseason, that he can play outside as well. So it seems like they're going to give Bullard every opportunity to solidify his role in the nickel, which last year he played that nickel spot, that star position, much, much better than he played safety. So why not press into what he does well? And Evan Williams was damn near dominant last year at the safety position, right? So we came into camp thinking Bullard may go back to safety. Evan Williams might take a slight step back in terms of reps. Nate Hobbs would be in the slot, and the outside would be like Carrington Valentine and Keyshawn Nixon, right? Well, what it seems is happening is Keyshawn Nixon and Nate Hobbs are on the outside. Javon Bullard is still in the slot. Evan Williams is still at safety. That all sounds great to this point, but Carrington Valentine is fighting for a starting job now, right? So it's kind of, if like we were to play a game tomorrow, it feels to me like Carrington Valentine is going to be the man out of the lineup until someone gets banged up. Now, we just showed you, we opened up with, he's already got 2 interceptions in camp. So he's doing everything he can to solidify that spot. But as Mark Tauscher says on Wildy and Tausch all the time, late round picks have to constantly prove they belong. Early round picks have to constantly prove they don't belong. Javon Bullard's a 2nd round pick. Carrington Valentine's a 7th round pick. I could see why they would. I won't agree with starting Bullard over Valentine. And I know they play 2 different positions, but one or the other is going to be on the field. That's why I say you're choosing him over the other, because Hobbs would kick to the slot if you went that route. But it's just going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And again, guys are going to get banged up, and it's early in the process. But definitely something to keep an eye on, that Javon Bullard's still running with the ones in the nickel and obviously still creating turnovers. We've seen him do that in the regular season last year, guys. When he punched that, there was multiple times he caused fumbles. I remember one, I think it was against Chicago, smoke screen. He flies in there, blows up the catch. Catch. They turn to Yak, blow him up, knock the ball out. Bullard was pretty good about being physical when arriving at confrontation last year in terms of tackling the ball carrier. Definitely played a big role that many people want to overlook, that seem to think Javon Bullard's he's just not going to pan out. We're 1 year in and they think, okay, he's just a bust, but they refuse to acknowledge how effective he was at run defense. Like if you go back and watch those nickel 4-2-5 sets when teams faced us with 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, equaling 3 wide receivers, man, Javon Bullard was almost like an extra hybrid linebacker plugging in the run fit. So just definitely keep an eye on that as well. Up next, Nate Hobbs. Nate Hobbs' physical presence. The cornerback has stood out by showing his competitiveness, earning praise from Matt LaFleur. There's a leadership void in the Packers cornerback room, and it seems Hobbs is the front runner to fill that. Now, you guys know he and Carrington Valentine go way back to when Carrington was in high school, and they've been working out all offseason together. I've been sharing all that over on my Twitter account at Packers_access. And, yeah, Nate Hobbs seems to have emerged as the leader of that cornerback room. I love it. I absolutely love it because, again, it can get a little awkward, and this may sound silly to some, but I'm telling you, it's a real thing in the National Football League. It can get a little awkward when a lower-paid guy, like you got Nate Hobbs, who's making the most money in the cornerback room, and like let's say a Keyshawn Nixon who's making $6 million per. If Keyshawn Nixon's the vocal leader, you can kind of get to stepping on each other's toes. And I know there's people that I don't care about that. I want to not care about it too, guys. But Bill Belichick in New England, one of the things he did so well as a general manager was he constantly kept that salary cap in check and by part kept the ego in check, that you don't overpay for a player that other teammates, and I'm not saying it's right for teammates to do this, but other teammates would look over and go, I'm better than him. Why is he getting paid that much? You see, so that can cause a little bit of a rift, just the minute amount of looking across the locker room at a guy other than, man, I'll go to battle with that dude. I'll lay my life on the line for him, and just have that little bit of, I'm better than him, I deserve more money than him. That stuff really matters. So the fact that Nate Hobbs emerged as the vocal leader so far, and it's early, that could change. I love it. Absolutely love it. And he's already got some buy-in from the room. He and Carrington have that great friendship, that great relationship, right? And the reason that's important is it holds the locker room together as a whole. If you get a bunch of guys from a bunch of different programs and no history whatsoever, and then you try to throw them in the locker room, you start to get factions that are created, right? This guy will buddy up with him. He'll buddy up with him. Next thing you know, you got a little rift in the locker room. That's some of the stuff that we don't talk about enough. So why do I mention that? Look at the defensive line. We talked about it last night, right? You got from the University of Georgia, just on the defensive side of the ball, you got Javon Bullard, you've got Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt, now Warren Brinson, Nazir Stackhouse. There may even be more on defense. I don't know. Those are 5 guys that they all went to the same college. In some cases, I think Devontae Wyatt, was it Devontae Wyatt or maybe it was Quay? There was a couple guys that, I think it was Bullard. Bullard and Nazir Stackhouse won national championships together, right? And I think, I want to say Quay might have been in there at some point. I know he won a national championship as well. But when you get those guys from the same alma mater, and even if they didn't play together, they go back to their university and they work out and they do all these things, help with recruiting and stuff like that, showing that, hey, this is a true NFL pipeline of getting players into the league. When you bring those guys in together and they've spent that time together at their university, whether they play together or not, they've just been a part of that fabric, you get this unity that's formed, and it's absolutely huge, I'm telling you. So I like the fact that Nate Hobbs has become the vocal leader. So, man, the chat is on fire. You guys are awesome. Appreciate y'all hopping in here on such short notice. Wish we could use the chat a little bit more when I'm doing these solo streams, but you guys know how it is. I'm like a rat on acid anyway. I can't stay focused for more than 2.5 seconds. So if I get to looking at the chat and then trying to hit the content we were going to get into, get stuff. So really appreciate y'all hanging out here this afternoon. We're going to get out of here, guys. This was supposed to be a 10-minute video. We're at the 30-minute mark. So imagine that, right? But if you're new here, welcome into PTA. Appreciate y'all making us a part of your afternoon. Hit subscribe. Make sure you click that bell so you get notifications every time we go live. We'll be back tonight, 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live. Got a lot of cool content coming up as we're going to dive into a little Christian Watson talk and talk about his rehab. We're also going to hit on Evan Williams and what happened last year with him and how he's looking to take a step forward. I was reading some articles earlier today and just a really cool breakdown there. And we're also going to go into a little bit of Packers history and tell you guys why they chose the 1923 uniforms as the throwback. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that being said, everybody hit that like button on the way out. Appreciate y'all. Be safe out there on this Saturday. Make sure you staying hydrated. I know it's a scorcher across pretty much the entire country. And I want to give a special shout out and thanks to our international viewers and listeners as well. It's almost daily I get messages, emails, text messages from people from Scotland, people from Australia, from people from Germany. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I know the hours get completely flipped upside down when we're live. You guys should probably be asleep, but you somehow, some way find a time to find a way to support us and the time to listen and watch here on YouTube. So everybody have a great day. We'll see y'all tonight. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.